Okay, what is it? Hopeful bit you guys are going insane about for Bethesda in
Bethesda may be
2025.
about to have an absolutely insane
We will
2025.
see
As of
about
right
that.
now, Bethesda has quite a few games and even some major DLCs all slated to drop at some point this year. And when you add Xbox on top, this very well could end up being one of the best years for RPG fans.
Also, don't forget, chat. Don't forget, we do have we do have the F-Bot event on the 28th, chat.
Ever. And a big part of this is 2025 will very likely be our first real look at the new Bethesda. In this video, I will make perhaps an insane and pointless argument, but I think there is a scenario where we could see the Elder Scrolls 6 in 2025. I don't think we're going
Oh
to be
god, that
playing it this
hopeful
year, but
thinking.
yeah, I think there's a chance we could see it. Bethesda has been making some serious changes as of late, and we have a really good idea of what
Also, real quick, a lot of these changes have probably come in now that yeah, Microsoft bought them, and now that the project they were working on pre-purchase is quote unquote done. Like, yeah, this is when we're gonna start seeing Microsoft hand start coming into Bethesda pocket full on. So I real quick though, before continuing on the Elder Scrolls thing, I still think Elder Scrolls at least like 3 years bare minimum out. If we see anything, it might just be a teaser trailer type of deal. Maybe we will see a character, maybe we will get verified where it is in it. I know a lot of people think it's gonna be high rock. But I don't think we're gonna see like gameplay or anything at all. Yeah, it'll leak 3 years out, like easily. Which is like I think that the main reason for the fall or the Oblivion remaster is to fill 2025 into 2026 and then give them like a 2 year gap there for the net Elder Scrolls. So but yeah, if they're gonna do anything, it will probably be like some dude in a knight wearing whatever outfit from allegedly High Rock or wherever it's actually going to be. You know, you're gonna be just like the original like CG thing of like the Dragonborn screaming at the dragon type of teaser. Like we not seeing gameplay at all. Like we might get CG, we might get a tease, but you know, nothing beyond that this year anyway.
what's to come from this company, thanks to both old and new leaks that are incredibly telling, like the fact that you'll likely be seeing more very soon. Leading up to the Game Awards 2024, which is just in December, we heard from insiders like Nate Drake how Xbox, which of course now also means Bethesda, wouldn't end up having a major presence at the Game Awards 2024.
Yeah.
We still, of
And
course,
they
did get some
didn't.
major reveals like The Outer Worlds 2 dropping in 2025. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But overall, saving some of the big reveals is a new strategy from Xbox, as
Yeah.
now they tend
But
to
we
save some of their
already
stuff for this January Developer
there
Direct.
it is. I
As
was
of right
gonna
now, the
say
2025 Developer Direct hasn't even been announced yet, but several insiders do report that the
yeah.
event is happening and an announcement should be coming shortly.
And it was
Even just
announced
earlier today, insider Xstasis
today?
posted this
Yesterday?
cryptic tweet mentioning tomorrow and 23, likely suggesting that the Developer Direct will be announced tomorrow and take place on January
Is it
23rd.
28? I
And
think
this
it's
year
28.
is a special one,
I could be
as we
wrong,
have a
though.
really good idea of what Bethesda is going to announce thanks to some of these past leaks. You've probably seen this roadmap. Microsoft actually leaked this themselves on accident while trying to upload a Phil Spencer deposition during the FTC trial in 2023. This roadmap was an
Oh.
overlooked attachment on that deposition.
Oh, that was it came from. I looking at it, my mind went to like, oh, well, they're from the stockholder meetings, and you know, we in 2025 now, so you know, the quarterly just wrap.
Giving us
So
Bethesda's internal roadmap.
yeah, what right there, the like literally, yeah, Oblivion remaster, called new DLC for Elder Scrolls, which is not surprising. Um, so yeah. The thing is that, like, sadly, a lot of this have moved because it was 2022. That got moved. And then, what else? Oh, yeah, the Fallout 3 remaster was
Azul
announced.
Titiro Ho Ye Scam.
Did you hear the fire truck behind me? It's supposed to be snowing right now, so we will see. Yeah, look at that. Licensed IP, that obviously with Indiana Jones. So, Indiana Jones was out. Obviously, Elder Scrolls didn't make it. But we mastered didn't make it. A pension, I think that made it, right? That made it. I think they brought out a pension last year. Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, that didn't happen because I got canned because of the whole sales slash closure of Tango. So we will see if that happens since Tango been rebought. Obviously, I think Tango at that point is just, working on oh god, the fucking music fighting game, that name escaping me right now. Dishonored 3 would be interesting. Because I do love Dishonored 1. I still need to play the
Maybe
second one
we
in the
will see a
expansion.
sequel in the future though.
Maybe. We will see if Tango and the new owner care enough for it moving forward. Dicks indeed. But yeah, Dishonored 3 would have been nice. Yeah, Doomio Zero, obviously, that was the reveal of Dark Age. So there's that.
They made in 2020. So on one hand, yes, this is fairly outdated, nearly 4.5 years old now, but on the other hand,
yes,
this
I
leaked
keep
a year and a
hearing
half
that
ago.
Oblivion
So now we have a
Remastered
pretty
is
good
still coming, and I heard it was made from the ground up, not like Troy says it's just sprinkled with AI generated upgrades.
We will see. We will see. I don't think that gonna put like the heavy manpower behind it. That because especially since the net article should be heavily ramping up right now. That's the reason I think it's gonna be a few model switch out, maybe a few updated text or a couple of passes with AI, upscaling.
Also, it's not Bethesda making it, it's a third party.
Do we know who the third party is? But if it's a third party, yeah, that would probably cause some problems in there for me and me being wrong. But I haven't heard who the third party will be. But I might be a little out of the loop on that.
good idea on its accuracy. We could see what is held true and what hasn't held true. Because at least thus far, the reality
I can't remember, but I heard they were good at making remakes.
The Blue Point is now owned by Sony, right? Well, they are commissioning Sony to make it. Blue Point be off the table. Night Dive don't really do game to that scale. Night Dive be up there, but Night Dive do more like N64 PS1 type time period game. So I don't think it'd be Night Dive, because that'd be like the biggest project they have ever done. So I don't know.
is, for many of the games listed on this roadmap, if you simply apply a 2-year delay to the stated date, this roadmap has been shockingly accurate, which means we're probably going to be seeing Doom: The Dark Ages pretty soon. This was announced last year with a slated 2025 release date, a new medieval Doom game that to me looks absolutely epic. And there is a pretty good chance you'll be playing this one soon. Doom 2016 dropped in May, while Doom Eternal came even earlier in March. From this roadmap, we can see that Bethesda originally planned to have both Doom: The Dark Ages and its first DLC out in the same year. So based off those past release dates, plus the timing of a DLC and a game in the same year, definitely makes me think that this new Doom game is coming out in the next 3 to 4 months, which means it'll almost certainly claim a main spot at the 2025 Developer Direct.
Maybe.
So if you're excited for Doom, we're likely getting a deep dive in just a couple of weeks. But that's not all, because do you know what Todd Howard
Not
wants?
long, that
Release a
might be
game on
accurate.
incredibly short notice.
I like when you really see the game to when it's out is as short as possible.
Yeah.
As short as people will let me.
You would go shorter if you could?
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe, I'm trying to think what's perfect right now. Maybe a week just to get people excited.
Right.
To have those moments of
Will
I
you,
saw
a
it,
week?
there's some trailers, percolates in your mind.
Can't
the
wait
more-
for my Doom game, D.
Oh god, the marketing team not gonna let him do a week from announcement to release. That not happening. Also, a week in advance, that not happening either. That game will be leaked to hell and back by the time you deal with, like retail stores and digital fonts.
There.
That is a quote from an interview all the way back in 2019, but I've been thinking about this quote a lot lately due to this recently leaked
Bob,
Oblivion
what?
remake. This
3
game
months?
leaked back in 2023,
4 months?
but
They were
in
4
the
months,
past couple
right?
of weeks, it has been getting a ton of leaks, with several insiders now expecting that the Oblivion remake will be revealed at the 2025 Developer Direct, and
Maybe. if we go by the direct, I feel like the thing either gonna be the Fallout 3 remaster or the Oblivion remaster. I might be reading too much into it, but like from what they are teasing, I would want to lean more toward the Fallout 3 remaster. But maybe the plan will be, because I feel like it would probably go Fallout 3 2025 and then Oblivion be like 2026. And then 2027 is the actual showpiece of the net Elder Scrolls with the release of 2028. Or want to release in 2027 and then it's going to get put to 2028. But
Yeah, Troy, they got new missions in First Descendant called Void Missions.
isn't them just the bosses?
And just right off the bat, yeah, that makes sense. Hi-Fi Rush was a surprise reveal at the original Developer Direct, and it seems like something they like to do with these events. If you haven't heard about this Oblivion remaster/remake, I've covered this one a few times now. It leaked on Reddit all the way back in 2023, and was described as being made by Virtuous Games.
Oh, there it is. Wait, 2023? I remember hearing about that long before 2023. I remember hearing about this in like 2021 from my sources.
An existing outsourcing developer, and this one would be using two engines stacked on top of one another to basically be a remaster-remake hybrid. Visuals are remade in Unreal Engine 5, as well as certain game features can be remade if you want to, but at the same time...
Okay. But you know what this sounds like right now, chat? It doesn't sound like, I follow like the whole stacking thing sound more like something like the anniversary edition of like Halo, you know, being able to go between the two games at once.
And a ton of stuff can be left the same, so it'll still feel like Oblivion, even though this was
or probably the way they are meaning it here is maybe the same way like Dead Rising was made. Well, the remaster of Dead Rising, you couldn't put visual style. But like so much of like the animations and the physics and like how the game actually play is like 1-to-1 with original Dead Rising, and everything else is remade. So maybe that is what is referring to, it like that kind of remake.
Just a random Reddit post, the moderators on this subreddit did verify the leaker's identity, and even after this, we saw other insiders report about hearing about an Oblivion remaster being worked on, and then of course, Microsoft themselves leaked this roadmap showing the Oblivion remaster is in fact a real thing. But then things went quiet. For most of 2024, there really wasn't much chatter around this at all. But right at the end of the year, Xtasis came forward once again claiming the Oblivion remaster is real and would be at the Developer Direct 2024. This speculation likely based off quotes from Nate Drake on Reset Era, who also mentioned the game towards the end of 2024. And since then, more has been found. Other insiders like Jez Corden are now speculating that yes, this game will be there. Tom Warren tweeted out a bunch of expected games releasing in 2025 from Xbox, but then updated that list to say, oh yeah, and more is coming too. Many suspecting this is a reference to Oblivion, as this was posted right as all of the speculation was rising again. And even just a few days ago, Timor222 on Twitter noticed a Virtuous Games developer with an unannounced Unreal Engine 5 remake on his LinkedIn, which of course would make sense for this Oblivion game, which is being made at Virtuous Games. And since that was posted and got a bunch of media attention, that part of the LinkedIn was removed. So taking this all together, many people are now suspecting that Oblivion is going to be revealed at the Developer Direct, and tying it back in with what Todd Howard said earlier.
What other games have they done?
Actually see a potential release date just 6 or so weeks after the Developer Direct? Oblivion's original release date is on March 20th, potentially fulfilling that super short reveal to release.
You know, the other thing here about this is Hi-Fi Watch and even Tango was still technically published, or would have been published, since Tango was a part of the acquisition into Bethesda. So technically, Hi-Fi What being a blind drop was technically a Bethesda blind drop, elite pre-Microsoft purchase. So, man, if they did a digital only, or once again, what some game studios are starting to do, like how Capcom did it with Dead Rising, of like releasing the game digital and then like a month or two later release a physical, if at all, then maybe maybe it could get by with being like a blind drop come the 28th. And then like a physical print later, if at all. Or maybe they would ship it off the limited one, since limited one been doing a lot of like FBOT publishing as of late. So we might see a blind drop of Oblivion at the end of the month.
Desire. And to be clear, there's nothing actually backing that up. I'm just kind of speculating that this seems like something Todd Howard has wanted to do for a while, and this seems like a unique opportunity where they could actually do it as the event timing.
And also, with it being Oblivion and not high enough profile to deal with like a marketing team, you know, since it's just a remaster to shove out there. And you know, could easily be written off as just like a cash in. So like that also could get around the whole marketing team problem that come with releasing something like bigger in such a short window.
Just works out.
saying.
In my opinion, overall, the Oblivion remake is almost certainly real. We've just seen so many independent leaks around this project from various sources that I feel like that it's more likely something is actually happening rather than all of these people being wrong. Now,
Yeah.
conversely, whether or not it's
Stuff
actually
happening.
dropping in March and whether
No
or not
matter
it'll
what.
be at the developer direct is a bit more of an unknown. Many of these leaks say the game is being worked on, but they don't exactly confirm when it'll come out or even when we'll see it. Although, in fairness, even on that original leak from the Reddit post, that author did mention if the game ended up becoming more of a remake than a remaster, it would likely slip to 2025. And even that LinkedIn entry describes an unannounced remake specifically. So maybe they don't quite make that March release date, but I definitely think we see Bethesda Game Studios finally drop a remake in 2025. But as we do return to this roadmap, that is where things start to get genuinely insane. Even if we just got the Oblivion remake as well as Doom the Dark Ages and a first expansion for that game, it would already be a pretty massive year from Bethesda. But if this roadmap is to be believed, there's 2 more giant projects coming this year as well. Project Kestrel is the upcoming ZeniMax Online Studios MMO. We know this from a previous GeForce Now leak, which did reveal the codename.
Wait,
and while we don't know
really?
much about what the MMO itself will be,
I
what
did
we
not
do
know
know
about
is
that.
this game is shaping up to be giant. It's been in development since October of 2018, according to this LinkedIn. And during that time, ZeniMax Online Studios opened up several totally new offices to help work on this project. So you're talking about nearly 7 years of dev time, multiple new studios
still
opened,
not a lot of
and
time
the
for
only
MMOs.
other major detail we know about is there's going to be some kind of vehicle system. As a senior vehicle designer is one of the job listings that was posted during this time. This is one of those games where we don't really know much about what it could be right now, but it just seems like it'll be massive, and based off this leaked roadmap, it has a really good chance at dropping this year, or at the very least being revealed this year. It's one of those things where, yeah, we know nothing right now, but for some of you watching, this game will get revealed, become your most anticipated game of the year, and probably take over your life for a bit. Conversely, Project Platinum is a bit more obscure. This was also in the GeForce Now leak, but originally listed as an Indiana Jones game, which on this roadmap is a completely separate listing. So what I suspect is going on here is this Project Platinum could just be a different game from Machine Games, who also worked on Indiana Jones. And there's a fairly obvious candidate for what this could be that is otherwise not located on the roadmap, and that's Wolfenstein 3. But okay, I know, many of you are immediately thinking, wait, what? That can't be possible, right? Dropping Indiana Jones in December, and then Wolfenstein 3 literally the very next year, and likely within 12 months, would be pretty insane. Those are 2 giant projects. But
I think it depends on how much manpower do they have at Machine Games now. But I'm not 100% for sure, but I know it's not uncommon for a lot of studios to be working on 2 games. Like one, it'd be like main development, and then a second game in like early production. So with that being said, by the time Indiana Jones got to Final Pass, at that point, you know, that not like the main team working on the last couple months of the game. So that could, in return, been moved over to a project that had already in early development of like mapping, character designs, a little bit of 3D modeling here and there, maybe a little bit of scripting. Um, you know, that at least have some type of like a semi, what is like kind of playable, any of it might be gray box. So depending on the size of the studio, a year it kind of like not the full story though. Like that game could have literally be like, you know, 2-3 years in at that point. So, and a year at that point with everybody involved could be done, especially depending on how tight the window is. And then you told them already using a known engine like Unreal on top of that. That kind of can beat up a lot of stuff.
Even on the original roadmap, Bethesda did have these two games only separated by a year, assuming Project Platinum is actually some project by Machine Games. We've seen job listings hinting at a Wolfenstein 3, and just generally, Machine Games working on Wolfenstein 3
I love how we pretend
really
like
wouldn't be a
the
shock.
twin
If
game
anything,
don't
it'd kind of
exist.
be expected. But I do kind of wonder why Wolfenstein 3 would then get a code name on this roadmap in the first place. It's not like this game is some big secret that would shock a bunch of people, so why are they hiding it? So who knows? Maybe this is something completely unrelated.
Or it could be related to it and they just haven't, stapled down being that yet. They could be one of the project that it's supposed to be something else that will eventually get turned into it. Like that not uncommon in the game industry. Look at what happened with Play back in the day. Like the last Play that came out wasn't supposed to be Play. And, we see that type of stuff all the time. Happening. Another example of it that you all probably know is, of course, when New York 4 becoming Devil May Cry. Like, it's not unheard of.
Maybe Wolfenstein 3
that
is
could be
actually
why it
several
was,
more years away. That's why it didn't pop up on this roadmap. And one way or another, Bethesda has another surprise project potentially coming in 2025 if the dates on this roadmap are to be believed. And it seems like the success of Indiana Jones may have seriously elevated Machine Games. Jez Corden recently reported that Disney wants more from them.
And Indiana Jones, a Disney insider suggested that there was going to be more in Indiana Jones, and I will say on my end, I've also heard that Disney picked up the phone and wants more Indiana Jones.
But one that may come as a bit of a surprise is Bethesda Game Studios has the potential to be surprisingly active this year, releasing a lot more content than you were expecting, even not including that Oblivion remake. As of right now, it's not really clear when Season 2 of the Fallout TV show is coming out. We've seen numerous quotes about
it got delayed because of the files. So realistically, Fallout will probably not happen in 2026 into 2027 at that point. Especially with how bad the files are in LA, without they are moving it to a distant plate for filming. Like, you're probably looking at 6 months to a year delay on starting filming for Fallout. Because that was announced, I believe, today that it got delayed because of the files.
How they're working to get Season 2 out as fast as humanly possible, and we've already seen a variety of set photo leaks get posted online as Season 2 filming began in late 2024. If you're curious about those leaks, get subscribed,
and then they all got
another
destroyed,
video
probably,
coming on the TV show. Right now, it definitely seems ambitious for Season 2 to drop in 2025, and even as I was just filming this video, we got the news that filming has been suspended due to the ongoing fires in California. So
that's
if
what we're
anything,
talking
it
about.
seems only more likely that, Season 2 is in 2026.
Yeah.
But either way, the Fallout TV show has had an impact, and Bethesda's plans have changed as a result of this. Last year, Bethesda...
They're not going to film it here. No, Hollywood not coming to this state. That's not happening. Especially since, we don't have any, like, desert area around here outside of Heavy Green at that point. You can take that up to Canada. But yeah. Maybe they were doing the Fallout series in, like, in like 76 area, and then maybe we could do it, but yeah, that's not happening.
Bethesda had 2 in-person Fallout 76 events in London, this showing off some of the game's future updates. This is a new thing. These events were a direct response to the increased player count from the TV show, and they do reflect a considerable increase in investment into Fallout from Xbox. Like, put simply, it's just new money. They weren't doing Fallout events, and then all of a sudden the TV show comes out, a bunch of new players are there, and they got a larger budget allocation, so they now can
they got to do something Fallout related, because they sure in the hell not giving us a new Fallout game other than that Remaster 3
events. But I think it's a safe bet to extrapolate that. So keeping that in mind, I would just expect more Fallout in general.
And also 76, you can monetize it past like a set fee
in 2025 from Bethesda, because several teams likely just got a budget increase internally. Bigger presence at events is something I hope Bethesda does. I'd really love to see them back at PAX East, but also larger and even more frequent updates for Fallout 76 seems like a lock. I fully suspect 2025 to be the game's most active year yet, but Bethesda does have other big things coming even beyond that. In his recent interview with Mr. Matty Plays, Todd Howard made it clear that Bethesda made a mistake with Fallout 4 and Skyrim.
We would look back at Skyrim, which we're still updating,
Right.
to a small extent, and there's all of the creations and mods there. Still a hugely played game. Same with Fallout 4, that we wish we had supported them longer. And as we go into Elder Scrolls 6, we sort of, with all of these games, you got to start now by thinking about like a 10-year horizon, right? How do we
Yeah.
support a game for that long?
2024
And
is
all,
the year we start to
and
see.
also, since Bethesda stuff usually take 5 to 10 year bell minimum most of the time, which is the main reason why Bethesda have always been a publisher to fill in that gap, or ZeniMax, I should say. Is like, yeah, doing the whole 10-year like ideal, you know, the Destiny style stuff, and even it's not a live service. Yeah, that kind of just how video games are nowadays.
That change, but I think 2025 is really the big one, as Bethesda describes how both Starfield and the Elder Scrolls 6 will see more support compared to their older projects.
That expectation that we'll update them for years is true.
So with Elder Scrolls 6 going in with that knowledge, is the plan like a long-term support for that too?
100%. Yeah. You know, content-wise, we're looking at kind of like what we do with Far Harbor on Fallout 4. We're like,
Speaking my
okay,
language.
this is a scope that works for, you know, our development in doing this kind of annual story expansion type of thing. So
I know things change, but would you say you're aiming to do like an annual story expansion every year?
I would say we want to, more or less, yeah. How long that continues? Hopefully a very long time, but that's,
Depending
we're
on
planning for the
how much
one
money they
after
make.
this. So there will be another one.
So of course, we know Starfield is getting another expansion this year. Starborn is the name, and that was even recently trademarked. And this is a big deal, because Bethesda plans to do this indefinitely, as long as players stick around. As we're basically seeing Bethesda break up into distinct teams here. Many devs are working on the next AAA project with the Elder Scrolls 6, but also a team working on DLC for the last project for Starfield's DLC. And not even just in the form of expansions, because paid mods are also really starting to take off for both Starfield and Skyrim, with even Bethesda releasing some of their own paid mods or creations, and even contracting mod teams to make some of their own content. This is one of those weird aspects of Bethesda's evolving plans. I suspect they'll release a good amount of content via creations this year, and verified creators in the program are going to be doing the same. Now with some of these teams, you're talking about a roughly DLC-sized quality and sized mod. Some of this content is getting really, really good, and people are buying this stuff. I've heard from several users in the program that yes, they're continuing to make content for it, and they're making pretty good money from what they're releasing. So for some of you, this is absolutely great news. A bunch more content for your favorite games, but I also know there's a whole other chunk of you who are watching right now that have zero interest in a paid mod and don't even browse this menu. But one way or another, my understanding here is Bethesda's investment into paid mods with creations has been a massive success. And as such, I would expect much more of that in 2025, including with Oblivion. I have to imagine they want to bring creations, aka paid mods, into all future releases. But what about the next Fallout game? A pretty wild theory popped up recently that you're likely going to hear more and more as 2025 goes on. Obsidian Entertainment is doing the unthinkable. They're releasing both Avowed and The Outer Worlds, two AAA RPGs, within the same year. Avowed is coming in just a couple of months on February 18th.
I do say Outer Wild might get delayed a little bit.
Just from the onset, that is huge. Avowed has been almost universally praised from its previews. This game is shaping up to be a big hit for RPG fans, and The Outer Worlds was just a world that I personally loved. Most of my complaints come around the scale of that game, so hopefully a bigger sequel with Xbox One behind it will be even better. The Outer Worlds 2 is genuinely one of my most anticipated games right now. But then what? Obsidian is going to have a lot of developers available for something new, and I think that something new could be Fallout. A lot of the current speculation about what's going to happen next with Fallout stems from a Jez Corden quote from last year. This was posted right after the Fallout TV show dropped and started smashing some of the major records. Not just in viewership for the show, but of course also in player counts for the game. A very important piece of context here. The Fallout TV show doesn't necessarily make Microsoft or Bethesda a ton of money. To actually make the show, it's likely just a flat licensing fee, nothing crazy. Because Xbox and Bethesda will make their money on the game side, monetizing all of those new players that come to the Fallout games. So of course, having a new game to sell is going to be incredibly important to get the most out of this project. But of course, that's not here yet. There isn't a new Fallout game, and it doesn't even seem like there will be a new Fallout game in the next year or two. Or at least
we're gonna be like season 3,
but now,
4,
Jez Corden thinks
or
Xbox is changing up their plans to get this game out sooner.
This is different. It's a bit different here because they've already got the engine. It's the Starfield engine. They've just got to kind of make assets for it.
Well, okay, who would make the game? Certainly not Bethesda. It would have to be somebody else.
That's what they're talking about right now. I'm suggesting someone else is going to build Fallout
Someone
5.
else at Bethesda would come in and make a Fallout 5.
Not
Would
necessarily.
it be
Bethesda.
Fallout 5 or would it be Fallout City?
It might be Fallout City, but I think, yeah, they're putting a plan in.
Yeah, Troy, all those new players left after the last update, the one with the giant robots, because they removed it afterwards. I never see it popping up to play the event anymore either with the giant robots.
It probably was like tied to a limited time event, because that's the other thing about a lot of live service game nowadays are leaning more into the FOMO design of actual gameplay as well. Hell, you're a PSO player, Joe. You know how that go with fans with NGS and whatnot. And you see this in other MMOs as well. Like Final Fantasy 14 do that shit all the time of just being like, oh, here's it exclusive game mode, or like little DLC story thing. Not even holiday event, just like little story stuff or event that just gone within like 2 to 3 weeks.
No, it was tied with the new location, and you can't even get the new stuff that they were dropping over there from that event or the other one. They completely removed them.
Yeah. Don't worry, they will bring back eventually. They probably ended up going the way of FOMO with that.
Place. And I don't think it'd necessarily be Todd's main Bethesda team doing it. I think
in any content made for live service moving forward, I wouldn't hold your breath for it to be around in a week or months or years. Like for example of that, you can no longer see the intro to Elder Scrolls Online anymore. Like the original intro is just gone, and like that was like a big part of that game. So
they're very stupid removing things from the game because it makes it less fun to be playing when you remove shit out of the game.
You don't hit what I have talked about many times, Joe, about how I hate like FOMO game design when it comes to like event type stuff. I'm not even talking like out there. I'm talking about like quested storyline areas, like all that. Because it like that is so much time, so much money wasted just to take advantage of FOMO on your player base for like a week or two. And in return, so much of your game become like lesser than. Because if your game have a content problem and you trying to FOMO
That's
your
why
player,
I think people that make games are quite stupid nowadays, because if you're going to put something in your game and remove it and then you wonder why your player base is dropping off, you need to start asking yourself why you so stupid.
The problem that comes from this is a lot of the companies, are especially like the higher ups, is so short-term driven. Well, they look at this stuff and being like, oh, we're going to put this in. We're going to have it for like a week or two. Our player base going to jump up. We can sell a whole bunch of monetization to the player bases that just came back. And then being like, oh, the players are just going to leave in like a week or two and like whatever. We move the content. And then, we repeat. And then, next month they do something else. Or 2 months, 3 months later, they do something else. Like I said, look at NGS as an example of this. And it just like, instead of keeping like a solid player base or like a stagnation player base, it just content spikes ups and downs of people that show up, do the stuff, and then leave, and then just fight back down. And the thing is when
the problem with that is they ain't getting much of that player base back that
right there with the argument is right there with the argument there. Is because the idea behind it is you get the player base, you sell them a whole bunch of shit, and then you just milk them for every penny they are worth in the moment. And then when they run out of money and leave, it's like, oh, they not will player base. Then the money not, they get that spike and they have that in the moment satisfaction. But the problem is that come from that is literally that.
They burn
right there,
bridges
Joe.
with the gamers, and the gamers aren't coming back because they can see right through it.
That right there is the problem that come from this is they are doing it to get a whole bunch of money in the moment and get a whole bunch of player base in the moment. But the problem that come from that is the more you do it, the less player base that you're going to return over time. So you're still going to see that down climb. And then on top of that, the player base you have, is the player base going to become more and more unhappy? Might it be because of like what you stated? Or maybe the whole thing of like, well, a lot of other people fall into like, oh, you don't have the content anymore in your game. You know, and like your game lacking content and nothing to do beyond these fights. And then there are the player base that will leave and more likely never come back. And the thing is that like a lot of company will take like the percentage of players that will show up for the fight, drain them of the money, and if they come back, they come back. If they don't, they just hope the net fight get dissing people or more people and then take their
Not
money.
just that, the player base is also going to get pissed off when they notice that there ain't many people to play the game with because of all the nonsense they continue to do.
That didn't get into that whole point of the people, there's a lot of player base, especially nowadays, that like this is something you see in like Fantasy Star as example, of the players that like spending money on like cosmetics and outfits and they love showboating it. But if you constantly draining the interest and your player base, eventually the player base going to drop to a point that the people that were spending all that money to just look cool or whatever it might be, now no longer have that incentive. So then people will stop buying, will stop playing. So at that point, the company is relying on the people that dealt for gambling problems, you know, the addiction problem, which is the main reason if you looked at monetization from like 5 to 10 years ago, and then you look at monetization nowadays, especially with like...
Yeah, cosmetics okay, but if that's all you got for your game, then you're not going to keep me satisfied to want to come back to your game.
Yeah, which is like that, say what kind of player you are. But the other side of that, like I was saying, is like the main reason you see stuff like a lot of gacha games, the reason is like very like flashy, is because they are playing on that mentality of like gambling addicts. And them people don't care. Like them people don't care about looking cool. They don't care about the player base. All they really care about is that dopamine hit. So as long as the dopamine hit keep going, then that's a player base they have. But the thing is what is your percentage, you know, for that? That's the problem. But yeah, that's like the main issue. Like, yeah, you see the contradiction here, Joe, from design, and you don't see like my main issue with a lot of the design stuff. But yeah, that is a big contradiction on that, Joe, and yeah, you don't see it. So
probably Obsidian.
Which, real quick, is like the main reason I have issue with a lot of like gacha live service stuff nowadays.
Good man, Pride.
Do you think Obsidian's gonna do it?
I think so, yeah. That's based on nothing. But I just know that
Pride, you do good, keep him ranting.
Well, I did show the video.
That they know they can't let this take that long.
And to be clear on what's actually being said here,
Thank you,
Xbox wants
my
this
child.
next Fallout game out sooner, as soon as possible, but Jez is merely speculating that Obsidian will be the ones to work on it.
I took a fat rip.
And as of right now, Obsidian really does seem like the safest bet. There are numerous quotes from over the years of the studio head
They are
at
going to be
Obsidian
opening
saying
up
how
here
Fallout
very,
could be
very
next
soon.
If they finish up their current projects, how he wants to,
you know, that is going to be a thing.
Make a Fallout game before he retires, and even
Oh
how
my
they're
God,
just
Jack.
really
That is getting wanty again.
I get second
waiting for the opportunity to make one of the Fallout games again. And based off that supposed Xbox quote that Jez is talking about, it certainly sounds like the opportunity to make a Fallout game is right now. Because, yeah, this one just kind of makes sense. Obsidian will have a ton of developers opening up over 2025.
Yeah,
as Avowed and
exactly.
The Outer Worlds 2 drop this year. I don't think it'd be shocking at all to see all of those devs move on to Fallout. Now, whether or not
I
we
agree
hear
with
about
that.
it
Like,
this
leave
year
the
is a
opening
completely different story.
lines up.
Obsidian has been
Will
revealing their
they? The
games well in
question.
advance to help recruit talent. Both Avowed and The Outer Worlds 2 got trailers several years before release, which does make me think it is possible for a hypothetical Fallout spin-off to get announced early, this likely just being a simple logo reveal showcasing a certain location or a CGI trailer like we've seen with other Obsidian projects. And if this all does happen, if Obsidian really starts working on a Fallout project in 2025, it genuinely wouldn't shock me to see a trailer for two major reasons. One, to just draw developer interest. You want the top devs working on this new Fallout game. But also, this would be such an easy and big win with the community. Tons of fans are fairly frustrated with Xbox right now, but an Obsidian Fallout game is a pretty surefire way to make a lot of those people happy. And with Xbox's major focus being on Game Pass, they have serious incentive to keep these people happy. A report just recently dropped that described how Game Pass launches can result in 80% lower sales for games. Because as a consumer, why would I buy the game on Steam if I already own it on Game Pass? That Indiana Jones game is a prime example of this. It didn't even break 12,000.
And the trade-off here is you hope people subscribes and forget to unsubscribe, and that will make up the distance. Because, you know, if you're selling a game for 60, 70 bucks, at that point of what? At 3 months of Game Pass? So, you know, that is a thing. But yeah, not to sell people are not going to buy it. Yeah, the whole thing on that end is like I said, the ship here is away from sales and hoping someone should forget to cancel the subscription after 3 months. But it literally, this is like one of them ideal that I don't understand how people get confused on, because this is the same argument that comes up.
Cause just remember you can get a discount on
That
Game
too.
Pass games.
That too. So if you buying a lot of games on Xbox and you're not playing a lot of games on Game Pass, that Game Pass subscription might be worth it just for the dick counts, especially how expensive things getting nowadays. But you know, the same reason why most people who got GameFly subscription still got GameFly subscription, because you know you get like, you know, $10 off every like month and a half. But yeah, I think the main thing to keep in mind here is like the whole idea that's been a thing about gaming forever, other than Nintendo product. You sell your console at a loss, and then hope they will buy like 2 to 3 games, and then that make up the difference. And that is the same strategy here. Is you get people to do Game Pass for the game or the discount, as you stated.
And when you do this, you also get more Xbox points that you can save up
That
to
too.
even buy games or Game Pass or whatever.
That the other thing is, you buying a lot of games, you got discount. Maybe you forget to, you know, cancel your subscription for 3 months. Graduation, you just paid for the game you joined Game Pass for if it's a AAA game. Then also that, it's like, I know a lot of people get in on the Xbox point stuff. And then on the other side of that, the people who get a whole bunch of Xbox points, I'm looking at me, and then not actually do anything with them as well. You know, it's a lot of trap sale for your money to just vanish. And I think that the main reason why you're seeing like the Xbox up in sale and Xbox still pushing Game Pass so heavily, any with the losses. Because from the front facing point of view, it looked like they're losing a lot of money. But deep down, it's like, as long as the consumer base keep doing what the consumer base do in general, like, it'll reason there are apps out there that keep track of your subscriptions and cancel when you don't use it. The reason that is a market. And that is what Microsoft is playing off of.
Players
not
on Steam,
this.
so a ton of people thought this game was a bomb. But if you looked at the Xbox top played games, you'd see Indiana Jones was above Minecraft. And this was from a couple of weeks after release, suggesting that, yeah, Indiana Jones hit an absolutely massive player base. Okay, so how is that relevant with an Obsidian Fallout? Because it encourages people to stay subscribed. Game Pass only works if you stick around. You're not paying $70 day one to get access to that game, and instead you're paying $10 to $15 or more per month. So for Xbox to get their money worth out of you, you have to stay subscribed for years at a time. Otherwise, they're just going to be losing money on the system. So with this in mind, with this being one of the major revenue drivers for Xbox.
Also, the other point there, right along with the points in the sale, it also keep the player bases on your platform that you can then also advertise to. It adds on Xbox everywhere now. So that is another thing to keep in mind, is the more people who would own Xbox, might it be through Game Pass or just in general own the platform and not going to other platforms, that is more money they can then go to, like, you know, Hollywood, TV, whatever, phone company, energy drinks, and charge them more for ad placement on the console itself. That is another thing to keep in mind. Get that a whole nother side of revenue stream for Game Pass as well, or by proxy, it because of Game Pass. So,
right now, it
which
does give them a
nobody
bit
ever
more
talks
incentive
about.
compared to other companies to reveal games earlier. If you know a Fallout game's coming and potentially a couple years away, yeah, you're more likely to stay on Game Pass. You're not going to cancel your subscription if a bunch of cool games are just on the horizon. And it's really that, coupled with increased developer interest, as far as the main reasons I think Xbox could in fact reveal the next Fallout even sooner, and hey, maybe even the Elder Scrolls 6. Right now, we don't know much about the Elder Scrolls 6. Last year it was revealed that the project was in full production, but there are a few factors
take advantage of a lot of people being out of jobs and you look for talent.
Roadmap would be at 2026 if you apply that 2-year delay like what happened with many other games. A Microsoft lawyer said that the Elder Scrolls 16 was coming in 2026. That almost certainly was meant to be the Elder Scrolls 6, and hey, they must have gotten that 2026 date from somewhere. And with rumors that Xbox will have some kind of new console in 2026, I personally cannot think of a better launch game than the Elder Scrolls 6. But during that same FTC trial, we also heard from Phil Spencer, who says that the Elder Scrolls 6 is 5+ years away, so
yeah, Phil Spencer, if you plan on growing, get these goddamn developers that start making some more games like Elder Scrolls and Fallout, because most of the player base is still waiting for these. What the hell are you doing?
The issue that comes from that, the industry itself, is the problem there. Because of all the layoff. Because the main thing here is you need developer and you need to be able to keep the developer. You can't be laying them off every hat project. Because, if you keep doing that, you're not going to get talented and well-trained developers if you just keep firing them every 6 months to, every couple of year and a half or two. So that's the other thing as well. Not only do you need to get the development teams and the people, you need to keep them around so you can properly train them up. And then make them your A-team developers. So that is a whole nother side of the industry as well. And they go for any company outside of Microsoft as well. Like any dev company, that's the biggest problem with game dev right now. It's just how many people get laid off.
You goddamn developers and stop firing everybody. This is stupid. You need developers. You don't need renter developers.
Exactly. Rental developers don't learn. If you bring in on people to do the same type of job they have done at 10 other studios for only a couple of months or years, that developer not going to get better. They just going to be, doing the same shit they've been doing for decades upon decades. You got to keep them around. You got to invest in your developers and train your developers up. Because if not, you losing so much talent just by wasting everybody's time by making them literally start from scratch every single time. And the second they get any will of learning or putting some, actually being able to put some of the skill to the test, and you just can them, then people not going to become better. They just won't. And then you're just going to have a worse development. You have to keep people around and train them up. And that a lesson that every goddamn game studio need to learn, Joe. Every one of them. And you're never gonna have a billion devs if you keep firing them before they get to learning something.
Perhaps all of what I just said is complete nonsense. So from my perspective, I would absolutely not say it's likely we see the Elder Scrolls 6 this year, but it also wouldn't shock me. We're kind of moved past that era of Bethesda having these crazy short reveals to release, or at least it appears that way. Starfield got multiple trailers years before the game came out. It wasn't just one teaser, but several teasers, and then several trailers before we actually got hands-on. Well, yeah, Todd Howard keeps saying he likes to have these super short reveal to releases. I have to imagine that's going away just due to the Game Pass model. And as such, it really wouldn't shock me to see Bethesda start revealing some of their prestige IPs even earlier, because whenever the Elder Scrolls 6 is actually getting a proper trailer, people are going to absolutely lose their minds. But of course, even beyond just Bethesda, lots of other incredible games are coming in 2025. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is a huge one, and if you're excited for that game, get subscribed. I think
do it, chat. Pick up. Hopefully, if all fell, go play the fourth game, chat. I'm gonna be playing the fourth game after the game jam. And dude, That's just Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls if it were realistic. It's just straight up Elder Scrolls, and it's great.
I think you might want to pay attention to this channel when it comes.
So, go get Kingdom
Let's
Come.
go Bethesda, start revealing. We ain't got time for the sit around nonsense. Get to the shit show the games so we can go. Yeah, let's go. We got games coming. We don't want to be waiting 20 goddamn years for you to show something
We're
off.
still going to be waiting like 20 years. The only difference is we're not going to be waiting 20 years for them to show it. We're going to be waiting 20 to play it.
Comes to content for that one, developers are doing something insane and giving reviewers a full month of
God,
early
I
access.
heard about
right
that.
now, Fable is
Holy
slated to
shit,
drop
man.
in 2025, and just
That is
overall, we
so
have yet
good
to really
for
get
that
a
game.
concrete or really good
Also, that will remind me I need to reach out and be like, hey, can I get a key?
in-game look at what this one will play like. It seems possible Fable is another attendee of the Developer Direct in January, and even Clockwork Revolution could potentially.
Yeah, Claw
We're
Walk
just
could be
going to
interesting.
take Todd Howard throwing in Elder Scrolls Prison so we can get these games shown.
And there you go.
Actually get a trailer. This is that extremely reactive RPG coming from an Exile. And for me personally, this is my most anticipated RPG right now. Although if Xbox is already dropping an Oblivion Remake, Fable, Avowed,
curious about
and
that
The Outer Worlds in
game.
2025, it
I
would
still say Judas is more interesting.
It's time,
but-
chat.
Oh God. Oh God. What are we doing? What are we doing?
feel a bit unnecessary to also include Clockwork Revolution, so I fully suspect that'll be a 2026 game,
Tick-tock,
but who knows,
tick-tock.
perhaps we get a trailer or something. And even The Witcher 4. I suspect The Witcher 4 is also a 2026 title, but with
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077. This game saw one of the most successful marketing cycles of all time,
2026.
and a big part of that was showing off the game
Yeah,
early.
2027
This
would be
also
about
led
like
to
four
massive
Elder
issues
Scrolls
as the
or
game they
Witcher
showed
4.
off early didn't look like the same game on release, but CDPR has been doing longer marketing cycles even with the Phantom Liberty DLC, so I would not be shocked if we get a more in-depth look at The Witcher 4 in 2025, likely around the summer showcase. Again, they were doing hour-long demos for Cyberpunk 2077 2 years before release. I'm not saying we're going to get something like that, but a 5 to 10 minute gameplay doesn't seem that far-fetched. Plus, who knows, maybe The Witcher 4 is in fact a 2025 release. I still
Another thing to remember, Cyberpunk was announced back in like 2011, chat. And Witcher 3 was announced in the trailer for 2077.
heavily doubt that, but we don't know the release year quite yet. And some, if not all of these games, will also likely be coming to PlayStation. Starfield in particular seems like a
I
major
think
candidate to
Xbox
come to
announced
PlayStation.
on the 25th they'll be
You
showing
know
off
what's
new
wildly
shit.
underrated?
Okay, I get it. It's Gundam time. Gundam time is happening now.
Gundam time will happen in like a minute and a half. And then we will do Gundam. Yeah, I need to double check. I think it's the 28th when it's happening.
PlayStation 5 this year.
I could be
You sell
wrong. I think
a
it's
lot of game
28.
copies and then sell
20
a ton
something.
of paid mods with an entirely new audience. But with that said, those are some of the updates around Xbox for 2025. Let me know your thoughts in the
No.
comments down below. Are you hyped for this year of games?
No
Honestly, I think
damn
both
chat.
25 and 26
Will be
could end
happening
up
in a
becoming
second.
absolutely dreams for RPG fans. But if you are looking for content you can use
Scam.
right now, check out this video for my personal top 10 Cyberpunk 2077 mods of 2024.
And there we go. Okay.
YouTube D's not.
No, don't worry, YouTube. That's just F, just being X. Either way, yeah, I get point. Here you go, chat. Here's the video. If you haven't already, go subscribe. I would say it doesn't make me feel any better about Bethesda as a whole. Like, it doesn't change my opinion on Bethesda at all. Like, Bethesda is just Bethesda to me, but you know, well, there is smoke, there is fire. So, that is a thing, you know?
Cheddar and sour cream, my god man, somebody call a toxic gas cleaner.
And with that, like, favorite, and subscribe. Come on over, twitch.tv/TroyMacon. And I guess we're putting together Gundams now.